Hello and welcome back to the Georgia's Live podcast. We have a very special interview today with Lyle from the Motet, and we'll get to that just in a little bit. The Georgia's Live podcast is the official podcast of Georgia's Majestic Lounge. You can go online to georgiaslive.com. There you can see what shows are coming up as well as get tickets for those shows. You can go to Instagram at Georgia's Majestic Lounge and to Twitter at Georgia's Majestic. And be sure to tell your friends about the podcast, rate, subscribe, review. Let us know what you think. And let's go ahead and take you to this interview. We've got Lyle from the Motet. The Motet will be here at Georgia's on September 13th. And if you don't know about them, they're one of the most awesome soul and funk live bands you could possibly see right now. And it was an absolute blast having Lyle on the podcast. And let's go ahead and take you there right now. This is the Motet on the Georgia's Live podcast. I am here with Lyle from the Motet. What's up, bud?
What's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. Super honored to have you on here.
Hey, man. Appreciate that.
So you guys are going to be here on September 13th here at Georgia's, and looking forward to having you guys back, man. I know a lot of people are pumped about it, and it's kind of been quite a bit of little buzz going on. It's going to be an excellent night. We're super stoked and happy to have you guys back.
That's great to hear, man. We're pumped to get back there, too. So we've always loved coming out there, so this is, and it's been a little bit. It's been a couple of years. So
yeah, and this market is really receptive to the jam, the funk, and the soul, and anything with a lot of heart to it, and that's what you guys have. So I know it's going to be an excellent evening, and I just wanted to have you on the podcast and kind of talk about the Motet and talk about yourself and kind of what you guys bring to the table as far as music and what you guys have been up to. And honestly, I just kind of wanted to pick your guys' brain and see where a lot of your guys' inspirations lie and kind of give some people that know who the Motet is kind of a little bit more insider, but also if you don't know the Motet, I know that anybody would be into it and kind of give them a little bit of inch of information on you guys as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
let's dive in.
All right, man. So you guys are deep into the funk and soul, and interesting coming, in Denver. Is that kind of where the band is based out of, is Denver there?
Yeah. Everybody's based out of there, but actually nobody's from there, but everybody's based out there.
Oh, nice. So is that kind of what everybody brings, or is it a hodgepodge? Does everybody kind of have different styles when they get together, or was funk and soul kind of what you guys create when you're together?
Well, I mean, I think the coolest thing about it is that there's funk and soul is the common ground between everybody's influences, but everybody has such a vast array of roots and influences in things. Like you take Dave, who started the band. He, has always been into a lot of the world beat, Afro beat, crazy, just like really in-depth study of percussion and things like that. You get Drew, the sax player, who's deep into reggae and hip hop, Paris into R&B, Joey is steeped in the funk, and Ryan into kind of the psychedelic jam. I was raised on R&B and soul and that kind of stuff. And when you come together, the thing is we all love funk music. We all are rooted in funk music, and that's kind of the thing that holds us together. But our outside influences kind of allow it to go in different directions and maybe be approached in a way that hasn't been approached yet, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell that in your guys' playing, kind of, you do jump kind of across genres without going too far. Do you guys, as you guys travel a lot, do you find inspiration in different parts of the country where different genres are more prominent? Do you find any of that in inspiration in your guys' music or anything?
Always. I mean, and it can be, a different experience in a different place. Say you roll into Detroit and we go over to the Motown Museum, then and then you get inspired and start writing or something like that, then it's naturally going to have that. If you're down in New Orleans, it's going to have a little taste of that or something. But we're also constant students, so we're going to be just listening to music and on our rides in between tour stops and everything like that. It's like, yo, have you heard this? Yo, have you heard this? Yo, have you heard this? Let's check this out. And so it's just kind of constantly,
what would you say is heavy in your guys'
nerding out.
What would you say is heavy in your guys' rotation the most often?
Oh man, I mean, it really depends on the day or the week. It's like you kind of like it's at such a fast pace of bringing things in that you just kind of like you find what you latch onto, and then like you write that down and you hold on to it for later for when you get home, so that you can really dig into it.
I know for me, traveling with my bands, it's always a matter of whoever's driving gets to pick the music. So I know for me, I would make everybody listen to hip hop all the time, and nobody really listened to hip hop, and then somebody else would get on there and listen to some jazz and stuff like that. And it's cool to see, you know, where who latches on to what and who wouldn't. And I kind of want to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to talk about, you joined the band in 2016, and
yes,
I kind of want to talk about your inspirations. You bring in a little bit of a different flavor, and I kind of want to pick your brain and kind of see, what were you doing before you joined the Motet?
I was pursuing a solo career before that. I was living in Brooklyn, New York for about 7 years. After college, I moved down there. I was a subway musician for like 4 years. Just kind of like playing to make enough money to then go above ground and pay the bands that I wanted to play with, because I knew that I wanted the baddest musicians, but I needed to pay them well.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford that all the way with the beginning of the career. So I'd go down in the subways, make as much money as I could in order to come up, pay them, play the gigs above ground, and then slowly but surely the gigs above ground got lucrative enough to be able to support myself. But yeah, so I was doing that. And then funny enough, I put my solo record out, this record called Uneven Floors. I put that out like 3 weeks before Joey Porter called me and asked if I wanted to join the band. So it was kind of a funny little twist.
Did you tour anything with that album, or did you just jump right into business?
I was getting ready to, but at that point, you know, they were asking, they're like, you know, would you be interested in joining? It's like, yeah, but like I also have this new record that I just put out that I worked really hard on. They're like, yeah, but you know, we're also going to be opening up for, not opening. We're going to have Medeski, Martin and Wood and Wolfpack opening for us at Red Rocks in 6 months. So it was like, yeah, you know what? I will join that band.
Yeah, so especially. Yeah, what's better than that? That's the greatest thing you could get offered.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what? I think that sounds just fine.
What were you doing in the subways?
I was playing guitar and singing. Just like do like acoustic soul kind of stuff. You know, everything from like, you know, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, Sam Cooke kind of stuff. But then like I'm a big fan of 90s hip hop and R&B, so I'd like, you know, bust out some, you know, some Boyz II Men, some SWV, some like things like that, just to kind of mess with people. And like I had a big old beard and definitely looked as poor as I was, and so it surprised a few people.
What was that tough trying to get the musicians with the cost of living and stuff, being in New York? And I imagine that would be another challenge as well, trying to put
nothing's
together.
Nothing's not tough in New York, but I think that that's kind of a beauty about it, is that like it instills such a work ethic in you that it's just like, cool, this is what I need to, like, I have a goal, I need to achieve it, so I'm going to work and do whatever I need to do in order to achieve it.
Nice.
And you just kind of like, because everybody's kind of dealing with that grind, it's like, you don't complain about it, you don't worry about it, you're just like, all right, cool, this is what it is, let's do it. I'm grateful for that.
Dude, happy for you for finding almost like a dream band. How do you guys come across your writing process usually with the Motet?
You know, so the first album was really interesting. The first album that I was on with Totem, because they had already recorded all of the instruments to it, and they'd even started writing a lot of the songs. They had started writing a lot of the songs to it, but then when they were asking me to come into it, they wanted somebody who was also going to be a writer, not just a singer and not just a frontman. And so after we kind of talked for a little while, they sent me one of the instrumentals and was just like, you know, we think that this needs to be a vocal song, but we haven't been able to write to it yet. So like, see if you can do something with it. And I wrote that in a couple of days, sent it back, and that was The Truth, which is the first song on Totem. Mm-hmm. And so then they sent the second instrumental to me, which ended up being Fool No More, which is the second song on Totem, funny enough. And then I came in and basically I did one tour. They asked me to join, and we're like, all right, cool. Well, we want to put this album out before Red Rock, so you're going to be in the studio in a month. So if you could write the rest of those songs real quick, that'd be awesome.
Man, so you kind of had to like uproot and move and dive right in, didn't you?
Well, I didn't have to move immediately. They were. I mean, these guys have been nothing but patient, understanding, and working with me through the process. But like I moved to Denver at the end of 2016, so I had pretty much a year in the band. But like it was just great because I worked good on deadline, so I was like, all right, cool, here we go, churn the songs out and get it, and it ended up working out great like that. But then as we got into the next record, we kind of played around with the writing process, and we've kind of found a nice little, like, it's almost like just like the conveyor belt method where the rhythm section will get together and bring in song ideas, unless, you know, somebody up from the band has a song idea as well. But a lot of the initial demos come from the rhythm section. And so they'll get together, kind of work out a form that works out well for them. And then they'll get it over to me, and then I'll write the song around it, maybe rearrange a couple things if I need to. And then once we get approval for that, then move it down to the horns, and then the horns put their stuff on it. And then we come together and kind of do the whole editing process together. And just like with us kind of constantly touring and doing the Weekend Warrior style touring, we're very rarely home for more than 3 or 4 days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So by being able to do it that way and just be like, you know, because the rhythm section can be working on one song, I can be working on another, and then the horns can be working on another. And in a certain sense, it's like maximum efficiency, but also something that's really worked out well for us.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody is working hard, and I love how so much of your music is so inspirational and very uplifting. And is that something that you guys intentionally do, or is that just kind of the music that you guys make when you're together?
Yeah, I mean, I think naturally, I mean, when it comes to funk music, I try to like expand the lyrics to be more than just the typical funk subject matter. But you know, because when you think of funk, sometimes you think like, yeah, we're having a funky good time, it's all good, all that, you know, and like.
There's a lot of substance to your lyrical content. You know what I mean? Thank you, man.
And like, there's obviously still going to be those songs because it feels good, makes you want to dance. Let's talk about it, you know. But then, but I think inevitably, I mean, I'm a pretty naturally positive person. I think that when we get together and we're having a great time playing music, it's naturally very positive. And I also think that in the world that we're in a very like a world with a lot of division and a world with a lot of fear right now, it's kind of necessary to be able to remind yourself like, hey, there's some good parts too, and if you let these parts into yourselves, then maybe it might help drive you to spread that positivity a little further elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely brings more colors to paint with, it seems like, and it's a lot brighter. I love seeing people in your crowd jumping up and down and cheesing and having eyes closed and having the time of their life.
That's the best right there, man.
What's that like for you, being on stage with that many people and sharing that moment?
Oh, it's heaven, man. It's like that's the best drug in the world right there.
Especially being a vocalist in a band that's super
community,
tight.
Man. Yeah. I mean, I feel lucky every night. The fact that I get to play with that band surrounding me and just an unbelievably supportive and incredible fan base in front of me. It's really, really amazing. Like we talk about it a lot. Like we're incredibly grateful for the community and the fans that we have, because I mean, there's been a lot of change in this band, you know, like I came in as the front man, like a new front man in 2016. Drew, the sax player, came in at the same time. Paris, the trumpet player, came in, at the beginning of 2018. But like with every change that's gone on, there's been open arms. There's been, just like, ooh, I can't wait to see what this next phase brings, as opposed to like trying to hold on to the old. Like the only thing constant in this world is change, and our fan base has been just really, really incredible. Like I never felt unwelcome.
Man, I feel like a lot of things in life where if people understand where you're coming from, and understand kind of the source of what's going on, it's easier to latch onto it. I feel like that's where a lot of communication breakdown and just people take place, to where I feel like if your fans, they understand the band and they know kind of where you guys are coming from, they're kind of down for the ride for whatever, almost like an extended family, to where whatever happens here, we're all in it together type scenario. And that's pretty cool for you to be open, welcome with open arms and excitement on a new project for everybody involved, and to be able to take it like that.
Absolutely.
So as you tour, do you have parts of the country that you look forward to going back to the most? Like regions throughout the country?
I mean, I think that it's like, at this point, kind of, being close to 4 years in and having experience with most of the scenes in the regions, like, there's just different things to different places that you appreciate. And like, maybe at the beginning it was like, as I was first getting into the touring world, it would have been a little bit more like on the surface or like predictable. Mm-hmm. But at this point, I think like relationships get built, experiences get had, and those can happen in the most unlikely of places. And so there's something just as beautiful about, returning to New York and playing there to, like a bunch of my old chosen family from the New York days, like going down to New Orleans, and being a part of that culture that's helped shape so much of my musical influence and everything like that. It's
a very inspirational city. I know for me personally, that's probably the most inspirational city.
Absolutely. But then at the same time, it's like, I remember sitting out on a patio in Fayetteville last time that I was there, having conversations with two incredible people that, like, I don't even know if we even exchanged names, but like, I know that kind of energy exists there. And so I can't wait to get back there. Like, same kind of thing. And like, somewhere in Montana or somewhere in California or somewhere.
What's nice to be in a band like yours, I think you guys bring that energy with you. And I think it pumps it out, and that's what makes people attracted. Like I was saying, if people understand where you're coming from, what you guys are coming from, like I said, I don't mean to use like uplifting in some kind of weird way or anything, but it's positive, and it makes you want to dance and move, and it makes you feel good. And I think that's something, like you said, people are trying to latch onto and want to be around. So it kind of opens people up to you as well. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we just want people to feel welcome. We just want people to feel like they're a part of every note and every beat, And like, that's really, I think that's really what it is if we let our guard down a little bit and allow ourselves to be a little bit more vulnerable, then it be like the community and the joy of the moment can bring us all together a little bit more easily.
Speaking of New Orleans, you guys are headed down there. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You guys got a lot of touring ahead of you for the rest of the year?
Yeah. It's we're hitting it pretty hard for the fall. I'm really excited. It's going to be we're going to get to a bunch of markets that we've been to recently and some that we haven't been to recently, like Fayetteville. So I'm really, really excited to get down there and see everybody again and get and just celebrate together.
Well, cool, man. I really appreciate you coming on here and chatting on the George's Live podcast with me, man.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to your show here on September 13th. Everybody go check out the Motet, and thank you, Lyle, for coming on the podcast, brother.
Thanks so much, man. Have a good one. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
And that is Lyle from the Motet. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. For you Motet fans, the show will be going on September 13th here at George's Majestic Lounge. You can get tickets online at georgeslive.com. And if you are not familiar with the Motet yet, you need to be. You can go online to themotet.com, M-O-T-E-T. Go listen to their music, guys. It's one of the best live bands you could possibly see. Lyle's a super interesting dude, and I really appreciate him coming on the podcast. Be sure to tell your friends about the George's Live podcast. Go to the website. Go give us a like on Instagram and on Twitter. And be sure to go look at what shows we have coming up. There's bound to be something in your wheelhouse. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. I am Travis Smith, and we will see you next time.